how did you? What was the next house after that? How did you end up leaving the House of Infinity?
I left the House of Infinity in 1995 after the second annual Infinity Ball. I think a couple of members from the house, like, you know, me, Janet, a lot of the head runners of the house kind of left.
Right.
And just for personal reasons, it was nothing, no shade. You know, I had a great time being in Infinity. I learned a lot, and they were very good to me.
Okay.
And then after I left Infinity, I became a Revlon.
Wow, I remember that's when I met you in Clubhouse. I met you in Clubhouse. You were a Revlon, and you were voguing New Way in the middle of the dance floor, and I was cringing at your style technique. I used to look at your face, and you were so confident. You would look at me, and you'd be like, "Bitch, I'm over."
Yeah, you know, I have to be honest. I wasn't always so confident, but I think that I mean, shout out to the House of Revlon. You know, regardless of whatever. I learned a lot.
I was like, I want to have confidence like AVIANCE Milan.
Well, you know, like I said, you know, shout out to the House of Revlon. The time me being a Revlon, I learned a lot, and I think that's where I really made an impact. I think myself.
How did you become a Revlon? How did you get into as a Revlon?
It's a funny story because you know, I was involved with the New York City underground club scene and stuff like that at the time, and I was in No House for a while, and Kurt Revlon one day approached me and asked me if I wanted to do a performance with Jose Revlon and Damien Revlon. And since I looked up to them so much, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. You know, I was cool with it. I didn't have any beef with anyone, you know. So I was like, okay, that's fine. So then me, Jose Revlon, and Damien started rehearsing together and stuff like that. And I think the chemistry between us was great at that time. And yeah, and then it just kind of just went like that, and I just became a Revlon.
Amazing. Now, how?
Which I was very honored for them asking me, because I looked up to them so much, you know. Hey, listen, let me tell you something. Nobody was winning Vogue of the House when it was me, Jose, and Damien.
I know that's right.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I used to come to those shows and I still watch them. Yeah. Now, how many balls have you walked in, trophies have you won under the name of Revlon?
Ooh, under the Revlon, I've won a lot, I would say. I've won Vogue Femme, Vogue as a House, New Way, Hand Performance, Arms Control. Yeah, a lot.
Yes. You know, I used to be mesmerized. Well, I still am, you know. I wear hand control and arm control. Like when you started doing hand performance and arm control, I was living for that category. You really inspired me.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, and now from Revlon, how did you what was the transition from Revlon to Milan?
You know, while I was a Revlon, you know, I just think that, you know, maybe there'll be, you know, I really still don't know what happened with that, to be honest, but I wasn't a Revlon anymore, and, you know, for whatever reasons. One day I was in Sound Factory, the original Sound Factory, and Eric Archibald, one of the original fathers of the House of Milan, after Roger, may he rest in peace, he just made me a Milan, and I just been in that house ever since, and it's been such a perfect fit. You know, I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, real quick before we go into the Home Alone thing, you know, because everybody, especially the new girls and everybody who watches YouTube, they want to know what was the shade between Jose Stefani and you. What happened there?
You know, I really think that it was all like a misunderstanding. I know on the video it looked one way, but it really wasn't. It was like, you know, I have nothing but respect for Jose Revlon. You know, I've learned to accept what happened and move on, because I'm not gonna hold grudges or live in that in the past or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, you know, there was an incident a week before that ball with Roger Revlon, may he rest in peace. You know, and Roger and I have, I'm happy that him and I resolved our issues before he passed away. You know,
wow.
So shout out to him in the heavens. And so, you know, on the video, it looks like I was throwing shade at Jose Revlon, but it really wasn't, because, you know, he was one of my mentors, and through him, I learned a lot, and I was able to grow as a vulgar, you know. Right. So I just thought it was a misunderstanding. I guess they must have thought that I was talking to him, but I wasn't. I mean, how could I have respect for him at that time, you know? So, yeah, I think that's what it was, you know. But, you know, I've forgiven him, and, you know, I've moved on, and it's no shade, and that's it, you know.
How do you feel about shade in the ballrooms, you know, and fights, you know, now the new era?
Well, you know, for when I became a Milan, you know, I kind of matured as a person.
Right. Ooh, yeah.
And I've learned, I've definitely matured. You know, when I was younger, I can say I was, you know, shady or arrogant, or, you know. So I apologize to anyone if I was ever shady to you. It wasn't my intention. I guess it was just, you know, the surroundings I was in and the people I was with.
I know that's right.
But yeah,
it's over though.
Yeah.
I used to live.
Yeah, you know, I'm not too big on the shade thing. I just, you know, I think everybody should just have fun, and, you know, this is supposed to be a community where we try to escape the world as normal problems, and this is our place to
This is a place to put on your alter ego, you know, and perform and be who you want to be, and be free to express yourself.
Yeah,
you know, that was what the ballroom was about.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's how I feel now. I don't think it's really necessary, but you know, everybody's different.
Okay, now, there's a little rumor going around saying that when you went to Russia, they didn't accept your passport. Now, to break the ice and to set things clear the air.
That's a good one.
Is that true, or is that true or false?
That is very, very false. I've been to Russia like 3 times. I was one of the first people to ever go to Russia to do the first ball ever. No, that's not true at all.
Word. Now, since we're talking about Russia and Sweden, before we go into that though, I wanted to say, tell us about your position in the House of Milan.
Well, in Europe, I'm the overall father of the house. So I have a chapter here.
Congratulations.
And the House of Milan. Oh, thank you. I do it in the name of Roger and Terry. May the rest in peace. I created the House of Milan in Finland. That's where it was born.
Wow.
Yeah, and then from there I have members in Finland, I have members in Sweden, I have members in Romania, I have members in Croatia, I have members in UK. So, you know, I have a pretty good amount of children, and, you know, Stanley has also played a part of building the house here as well with me. So,
congratulations.
Yeah. So shout out to Stanley Milan. Yeah.
Well, very few legends and icons have traveled overseas. Tell us about the origins of the European ballroom scene and your decision to take it to Sweden and open up all these chapters.
Well, I think the whole vogue overseas started when it actually started in Russia, in St. Petersburg, and the House of De La Gracia in Russia, they were the first ones to ever do the first ball in Europe and in Russia. And I was honored to be there with Deshaun Wesley and iconic Derek Extravaganza, and us 3 were the ones who actually participated in the first ball there ever.
Wow.
So there's a little history there, and then, you know, they started, you know, every time I teach or I go overseas, I always let the students know who to look for, who should they learn from, and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Word. Now, tell us a little bit about how was it for you? Was it different? Was it new? Like, tell us about this experience when you first got overseas.
Well, the first time I went overseas was back in 1999, and it was me, Jose Revlon, Monet Ebony, Conti Carlos, and we went to Frankfurt, Germany. Ooh. And we just put on the showcase. That was the first time. But as far as
Carlos,
yes, Conti Carlos. So shout out to him.
Yes.
Yeah. So as far as teaching overseas, the first time for me was Russia when we did the first ball, the North Venice Ball, the East Ball.
Now, when you first got overseas, now how were the Voguers? How did they Vogue down already? Like, cause I hear
some of them
they take Vogue differently than the way we do. To them, it's actual a dance and an art form. Like straight people do it. It's not a gay thing for them.
Right.
Like
explain
that to us. Like
it's for everybody. It's for everybody. I think the most in Europe. I think the most you have Voguers are women. They're mostly females. You do have your males as well, but I think it's a different experience. It's it's different in a good way.
Okay.
And like from the first time I went to teach, like some of the students there, like to now, I mean those kids have just dedicated themselves and they've just shown such an improvement and such a force and a love for it that it's just like crazy,
Wow. Now, would you say
they take
it more seriously than the United States?
I would say about the same, I think.
Okay. Ooh. I have to give up the scandals.
Well,
Hold it back. We got more episodes coming. But yeah, check it out. Also, who are some of your inspirations and some of your favorite people in Europe right now who are also helping out with the Vogue and the ballrooms community in Europe?
As far as Europe, well, I would have to say a big shout out to the Paris ballroom scene.
Okay.
Because the Paris ballroom scene it's growing so rapidly, and Lysandra Ninja was the first one to start the ballroom culture there. And I think those kids are bringing it. Yeah.
I hear in France the ballroom scene is a lot of carrying, arguing, and stuff like that. It's key.
I would say it's the closest to the States out of all the European countries.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how I think.
Where do you see the future of the legendary iconic House of Milan?
Well, I will say this. I say there's a lot of good things coming, not only in ballroom, but just in the music industry, in the video industry, in the fashion industry. So we're trying to touch on other things besides just the ballroom scene.
Okay. Wow.
Overall.
Bringing it mainstream, huh? Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Who were some of your greatest influences in the ballroom scene in general?
In general? Okay, well, I have to say this. First and foremost, the first person that inspired me to Vogue New Way was Damien Revlon. I just love his performance. For me, it's just like, wow, every time, And then Willie Ninja, of course, because through Willie, I was able to network into a lot of gigs and stuff like that. So, happy birthday and rest in peace to Willie Ninja, He opened a lot of doors for me, and he always looked for me when there was gigs and stuff like that. So shout out to him, and I can definitely say Jose Extravaganza. I mean, to me, no one, and I mean no one, one will ever have that grace and precision and that attitude that he embraces.